So this is an interview for Angel because she just finished her first term at Caltech as a Frosh. But keep in mind, this is COVID. Still, I thought it would be interesting to interview to hear about her experience. All right, now let's start off with some introductions.
Okay.
What is your name, year, major, and other extracurriculars you do?
My name's Angel. I'm a freshman, a Frosh, technically a pre-Frosh because I haven't gone through rotation yet, but I'm planning on majoring in CS.
Your extracurricular.
My extracurriculars, I will be on the varsity volleyball team at Caltech, and I'm also a part of Cheese Society and Fishing Club and Society of Women and Engineers. Yeah, we made ricotta cheese. It was fun.
Yeah, okay, cool. Why did you pick Caltech?
I think Amy really had a big influence on my decision. I never knew what Caltech was, and then when Amy got in, I was like, what is that? And I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I heard that it's actually a really, really good STEM school, and I really like the size. I think a lot of the things that Amy was talking about, I think really suited what I was looking for in a college because it's also in California near LA. I really like that location and a lot of smart people, and I could play volleyball there, which was also a very good plus.
Yeah, big plus. Cool. So what did you expect freshman year to be like? And let's make this twofold. So first of all, what did you expect it to be like on campus? And second of all, what would you expect it to be like at home?
On campus, I don't know, I visited a few times, and so I expected to be able to like walk through the halls and then just like meet new people, like when I'm just walking down, just like say hi because everyone's really friendly. And like I would just like go to someone's room and then we could like work together. That's basically what I expected, and rotation would have been a lot of fun being part of the house. And then also volleyball would have been fall season, so that would have taken up a good chunk of my time too. But at home it was pretty hard because I couldn't really just like go down the halls and meet new people, you know. I just stuck with a few people that I was comfortable with at the beginning of the term. I couldn't really like expand my circle as much being remote.
Okay, so yeah, what was your actual experience like then? How has COVID impacted you?
It was really hard. I'm not gonna lie, it was definitely one of the most difficult things I've had to go through because honestly the first week I was expecting it to be very like chill, right? Like in high school normally the first week is like, oh, syllabus
week.
Yeah, syllabus week, or just getting like introductions. But literally, like for example in chem, our professor, he like literally the first thing he said was, you have to learn all of AP chemistry by the end of this week. And we started on a Wednesday. So we only had two to 3 days to master all of AP Chem. And he was like, if you didn't want to do that, you should have gone to a different school like Stanford. And I was just like, what?
Yeah. So this Professor Nate Lewis, and basically, yeah, like, and this is for everyone because all freshmen have to take core, Caltech core, regardless if you're a CS, geology, whatever kind of major you are. And basically, yeah, even Angel, at least she took AP chemistry in high school, but for everyone else, like, yeah, that's literally catch up for those few days. And yeah, Nate Lewis, specifically his quote, he was like, yeah, so you have to learn this whole year worth of material in 2 days. If you wanted to learn this in 2 weeks, you should have gone to Stanford.
Yeah, no, he said like 6 weeks.
Oh, 6 weeks, my bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and like, the thing is that I expected my first term to be like pretty chill because Math 1A is literally just calculus, single variable calculus, which I've already learned. Yeah, but I'm like, oh, I've already done proofs before, right? So what could be so hard? And then also chemistry, I've learned most of that stuff. And they started off like pretty much a little bit of a review, but the first week we had a set due right on that Friday. And that was the hardest thing ever. Like, it was so hard. I literally cried so much because it was so stressful and I didn't understand all the stuff, and it was stuff from AP Chem. And a single set was due in like 2 days, and it was really hard to do on my own. So I had to find other people to work with on it, and they really helped me. But then at the same time, after they helped me, I was like, how could I do that on my own? And I was freaking out like, oh my gosh, I don't know this content on my own. So how can I like do this for the next 9 weeks?
Yeah, that's a very big part of this because kind of like you had some imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so do you want to speak more to that?
Yeah, let me think about this.
Yeah, basically it's a big thing where freshmen, they have trouble transitioning into the tough academics. And like as mentioned a lot in my videos, the academics are extremely tough, different from high school. And yeah, even though her experience was like among COVID and like it was remote, I think this video is valuable to have someone speak to give feedback right after they've experienced it. So amidst all the tough challenges they've gone through, and we can learn that it would be very similar on campus too. Obviously, we would have people right there.
So I think one thing is that I've grown up with Amy. She's my sister, of course, so I had to grow up with her. I know that she works very hard and she's like very smart, right? And like I feel like it was kind of intimidating for me because I was like, oh, she goes to Caltech, like everyone there is probably like as hardworking as her. And so literally like I was kind of nervous. Actually, when I went there, well, I haven't gone actually, but like once I got to meet everyone, I was like, actually a lot of people procrastinate, and like that's what Amy told me all along, but it's really hard to believe that when all you hear online and everything is that like all the people that go to these top schools such as Caltech are geniuses. And like it's true, a lot of people are really smart. A ton of people have gotten internships before college and done research on their own. They've published papers. And so it was really hard for me, like, because I don't have any of that experience yet. So going in, I was definitely very nervous. But yeah, overall, I think that being surrounded by so many smart people really like pushes me to work harder, and it's not as bad as I thought. It's still like there are a few people that are very, very smart, and I'm just like very intimidated by them.
Yeah, so it's interesting that she can still get the sense of the types of people even though it's remote, because they have Discord and other groups, things like that, right?
Yeah, I will say though that with the Discord, so we had a Discord server for the class of 2024 because it's really hard to collaborate when you don't know anyone and you haven't met anyone in person. So that was pretty helpful in the beginning, but after the first few weeks I didn't go as much. I've talked to a few other people about this too, and they all said that like most of the people that talk in Discord, there's only a select few that really talk a lot on it. So it's really hard because like when I just read what they were talking about, they'd be like, who started this next set already? And like it's not due until like the week after, and I still just started like, for example, the chemistry set, even though the math set is due after, and they're like, who started the math set already? So a ton of people who were actually participating or like talking a lot in the Discord chat were the people who were like more confident or like doing better than other people.
Yeah,
you know?
So essentially it's like a skewed selection. Like
yeah,
it's like your point of view is skewed.
Yeah, and like the people who aren't doing as well, of course they're not going to go into the chat and be like talking that much because they haven't been doing as well as the other people who talk a lot in the chat, you know? So it was really hard because that's what gave me more stress. Was I'd constantly like see these notifications on my phone and they'd be talking about like the questions on the set, and I'd be like, how are you guys already this far? But majority of the people aren't like that.
Yeah, so this is all good information and to be aware of these things. Like if you're choosing to go to Caltech, if you're coming into Caltech already as a Frosh, or even if you're applying, because yeah, like it's good to know about what you're getting into and then how you can have that, like how cater whatever you're doing to that. And yeah, it's also very important to keep in mind that once you did get in, like you're a Frosh, like I told Angel, that you got in for a reason. The admissions chooses people who they think can do well, can survive at Caltech, because it is like very tough to get in. So even though it's natural to have that imposter syndrome, you can keep going. That's why the first 2 terms on pass fail after all. So
yeah, I'm gonna be honest though, the first 2 weeks or 1.5 weeks were really, really difficult for me. Like every single day I cried. Like I'm not gonna say that it wasn't hard. It was definitely very, very difficult. Like even on the weekends, I'd just be working. I realized that after like 5 days since classes started, like I hadn't even looked at my phone like for more than 5 minutes, because the entire time I was just thinking about academics. And then when I finally got a chance to look at my phone, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I realized that I left a ton of people on Snapchat on red for like a few days. Like, that's not a big deal, but I'm just saying, like, normally before classes started, I would be on my phone all the time. But I didn't even realize that actually 24/7, I'd just be doing work. I wouldn't even go upstairs to eat dinner with my family because my family would have to bring it down for me. And then like it was constant stress. And then also I had volleyball. Our team did like home workouts together. And like during those, I'd just be like so miserable because I would just be thinking, oh my gosh, after this, I'm gonna have to go do more work. But I think one thing that helped is definitely hang out with your friends, because I had 2 people that I really bonded with in the beginning, and after like a week or so, then all of a sudden like we were video calling, and then one person was like, hey, do you guys want to play Scribblio? And then in my head I was like, what? You guys are playing games during this time?
Like,
and I was like, yeah, I was like learning. Yeah, I was like, how do you guys do this? And it was like 11 p.m. and I was like, oh my gosh, like, but we have work to do. But then once we did it, that was literally the happiest I felt, because you really need to be with people, because I was just downstairs on my own doing work all the time. But then again, the next morning, the second I woke up, I started crying again because it was so bad. Yeah, it got better, I guess.
Yeah, unfortunately, like I couldn't be home to helping because I was studying abroad. The Frosh like went through a lot. It's very tough because yeah, all the time when you're doing something fun, you're probably feeling guilty because you're like, oh, this could be time doing work. But this is a great example, the Scribblio thing, of that you need that balance, because in the end, you can't work all the time and bring burnout. In the end, you're gonna be more inefficient that way. If you balance it out, you need to like chunk out your time, kind of like I recommended in my video, how I survived Caltech virtually, right? So you need to set time where you're not thinking about work, such that when you're actually doing work, you can be faster, more clear-headed. And that goes for prioritizing sleep as well, because like yeah, Caltech people literally sleep crazy numbers of hours, as in like crazy few. This is an interesting situation because of COVID, right? She doesn't have the people, which as you know is very important, the favorite part of Caltech. And so it shows like no matter how hard the academics are, which very hard, like as Angel like cried every day because it's just so hard and like so much work. But if you're doing that with people, it's, even though it's work, it's not really that bad, right? So if you're working with people, that's how important the social scene is, and just having those events.
I was really overwhelmed because I would always think like, oh my gosh, I'm at Caltech, how am I gonna do this? Like a single term is 10 weeks, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's still 9 weeks, 8 weeks, and I'd be counting down, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, even after this, I'm gonna have 2 more terms of freshman year. And then I just kept calculating like, oh my gosh, 3 terms per year. That means I'm gonna have to do 12 total, and I could not think about that at all. Like, and then it just like made me so overwhelmed. And also, like whenever I stopped to even think about all the stuff I was doing, I think that's what made me even more stressed out, because the entire time it was just like go, 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 and like after doing this problem, do the next one, and then after finishing this set, go into the next set. And like I wouldn't even have time to like think back about all the stuff I was learning. That's the thing with Caltech, is that they teach you so much content all at once, and then you do like a single quiz on that stuff, and then next set of stuff, and then by the time you finish mastering that stuff, then like you forgot everything before. And so whenever I stopped to think about it, I'd be so overwhelmed and think like, this is where I am right now, and like this is my life. And I was like, I legitimately want to drop out. After the first 1.5 weeks, I literally like talked to my parents, and they were like, if you really can't do it, like it's okay, like you can drop out if you actually want to. And that's legitimately how I felt. I really wanted to.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, really? I thought I told you.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I actually wanted to. I was like, it's okay, like the college doesn't really matter. And it was just because it was such a low point for me that I was thinking about all these crazy things. But really, like everyone will go through that. You have to really push yourself to get through that, because no one's going through it really easily. That's not how Caltech works.
Yeah, and you don't want to be easy, right? How can you grow if something's easy? But yeah, the learning, if you heard, it's like trying to drink from a fire hydrant. That's how you learn at Caltech.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and yeah, for me too, I was just thinking about like, yeah, first 2 terms pass, fail, sure, okay. How am I gonna do like you said, 4 years of this. But now, like being a senior with 2 more terms left, yeah, I have fewer terms than you have years. And basically it's like, how did I do it? But you just do it. In the end, pain is temporary. as long as you work hard, yeah, you can do it. You really can push yourself to your limits. And actually, like she's being pushed. Like this sounds kind of not eloquent, but you know what I mean.
Looking back at the 10 weeks, I actually think that, oh my gosh, like I learned so much.
Not necessarily knowledge, but more like growing yourself and learning how to handle something that's difficult, right? Because yeah, let's be real, honestly, I look back and I'm like, wow, I did so much hard work, but I don't know what I gained from it, honestly. Like I don't remember transport and like any concepts. Alumni will tell you all the time that like you're not gonna use what you learn necessarily. It's more like kind of having the foundation exposure. And then, you know, you can just like Google stuff later. But what's most important is the problem solving skills that you're gonna get. Both the problem itself, written, and like solving the problem of life, how to handle it.
Especially with Math 1A, I thought I understood a ton about calculus, right? But I think 5 or 6 weeks, we literally didn't even look at integrals yet. We were doing all the base stuff. And I was like, what the heck is this? Like, I don't know what this is. But it's because we're going through everything that the previous mathematicians all did to lead up to calculus and integrals and everything. And so you learn the basis and how to really like change your mind on how you think about the problems. One thing that really helps me is I started watching YouTube videos to help me understand the concepts, because at first I was looking at the textbook. They didn't really make sense. Also for Math 1A, the textbook was written by our professor, and our professor like was literally like verbatim talking about what was in the textbook, so it didn't really help.
Yeah, also with Caltech, you kind of, for every class, it's different. You kind of go in knowing the resources they tell you to use, but then you have to adjust and do your own thing and see what works for you. Like in the end, this is probably not a good example, but I didn't even go to my freshman math classes because I realized like they're like not helpful. Yeah, like I'm like a good student, like, oh my gosh, giving class, but then in the end, like you gotta cut your losses.
Yeah, that's one thing that I learned from Amy too. When she was in Scotland, I was really struggling, right? And I was trying to go to every single thing. Like you have office hours, you have recitation and lectures, and I was trying to go to everything. I actually did go to every single lecture and everything. Actually, I skipped one because I was just so exhausted, but then I looked back at it too from the recordings. But then Amy told me like essentially slack off. I learned that after having that mindset, it actually really helped me because I was always stressed out. Like I was always packing in everything into a single day. In college, like if we were on campus, you would actually spend some time to hang out with friends, but I actually didn't do that. I was just packing everything in. And then, yeah, it was really stressful.
Yeah, if it's not useful, don't do it. That's kind of like, sometimes you feel obligated to do something, but it's not useful to you how to get this set done or to learn, use your time as efficiently as possible.
That's the good thing about pass-fail is that you get the first 2 terms. First term, I learned a few things that I'm definitely gonna apply to second term. And then second term, like when I'm applying those things, if I find something else that doesn't work for me, then I can try that out with pass-fail.
What are you gonna do differently this next term?
Definitely slack off a little bit more, manage my time better, and know that like mental health is really important. It's just as important as physical health.
You are using your brain a lot, you know?
Yeah.
They gotta keep it running.
Very, very tired. Oh my gosh, I can't believe winter term is next week. But another thing I learned, I don't know if this is very helpful, but my first term recitation, the sections I was in, some of the TAs that I had, I didn't think they were very helpful, and the entire time I was like, oh yeah, I could switch, but I'm not going to. I was like too lazy to, right? But you gotta do what will benefit you to help you learn the most. So that's what I'm gonna do next term, is like if there's this really good TA, then I'm definitely gonna switch in, because there was this other TA for physics that everyone was like switching into, because he was also helping, like giving hints before quizzes. He really, really helped speed up the process.
Like when I was on campus, for example, I didn't switch into different sections of recitation officially. I was still enrolled in like section like 2, for example, but I attended like section 4.
Yeah, you don't have to.
That's completely fine. What did you wish that you knew about Caltech then before starting?
That it's very hard. Actually, I knew that. I was stressing out because I was like, oh, on the quizzes and tests, I'm not gonna have anyone to work with. But One thing that I learned is that when you're doing the problem sets, like you're learning about how to think about the problem. It's not like all the problems are going to be repeated, right? So I learned the concepts, and by like working with other people, you get a clear idea of everything. And I think in one of your videos too, you said that like during a test, something, you understand more. One of the finals that I took during it, I was like, oh, so I get it now.
On the test itself.
Yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, that makes so much more sense. So actually, you don't have to worry that much about it. Like when you're working on sets, even if it's with other people, you're still gaining knowledge and learning a lot more.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, there's a reason why everything's open book. Like it's not gonna be, oh, just copy, follow the examples, right? Mm-hmm. It's on a lot level higher. And basically, yeah, I've had that experience many times where oh wow, now I understand.
Yeah, I found that I didn't really use the textbook on the tests or quizzes either. Like, you know, I just look at my notes. Even though it's open book, you don't really need to look back at the book because they're not very helpful. Well, depending on like how you are as a student, but for me at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to adapt. What does your next term look like? So what's gonna happen? Classes? What's your plan?
Yes. I am moving to LA. Woohoo! LA girl.
Oh, what? LA. Oh.
I'm moving in with 3 other girls. So I'm really excited about that. We're gonna be in an apartment. We're gonna be very careful. At least I'm gonna try to keep us safe. The classes I'm gonna be taking are Math 1B. I chose the practical track. Physics 1B, also practical. There's practical and analytical. Analytical, I'm not doing that because I am taking the easy way out.
Eventually, you kind of learn not to take classes that are hard. Like,
yeah. I'm just taking
Amy's easier, not
just,
anal. Oh, we call it anal. It's a weird way to call it, but yeah.
Yeah, I always thought that was weird. CS2, which is continuation of CS1, which I did first term. I'm doing CS21, which is the infamous hard CS class because it's required, and there's no programming whatsoever. It's literally just proofs and logic, so that's gonna take up a lot of my time.
It's like pure math.
Yeah. I decided to do that because I'm on pass-fail. Chem 1B, and then the last thing is just like volleyball, PE. It's because my volleyball team has to do home workouts again.
You get credit for that.
Yeah, team workouts. So I signed up for the class.
One more thing, going back to the like take-home exams and everything's open book, is that like you're learning stuff on the spot is because eventually you don't have enough time like regular classes to study, right? And like if everything's open book, then you just need to understand where everything is and like kind of understand the concepts and then take it, and then you can learn and then do it then. But yeah, because Caltech, you don't have time. Like think about midterms. You have no dead time.
Yeah, it's
classes are still going on, sets are still happening, and on top of that, you have 5-6 hour exams. Like
yeah, our math midterm was 5 hours, and I talked to some other people who go to other colleges, and they said that their midterms are 45 minutes to an hour, and that's just the midterm.
Yeah, and their quizzes. I decided there. Our quizzes are 2 hours. Yeah, so as a Frosh, chemistry bi-weekly quizzes, physics bi-weekly quizzes, and then you're happy if you get like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, and the thing is that physics and chem, the quizzes were during the same weeks too. So I'd be like, oh my gosh, it's quiz week again, and I just like take them on the weekends. So.
Yeah, and then they'll have online rotation. Don't know much about that. Probably a lot of Discord. I'm gonna try to participate in some house dinners, but we'll see how it goes. What support did they give as to Frosh, and did you use any of it?
Oh yeah, so one thing that they did was they prepared these LLGs, which are living learning groups. So when we were going to be on campus, they prepared these because we couldn't still like hang out with everyone. You'd be living with like 8 people total in the Bechtel, the living building.
What?
Residence. Yes, residence. You'd have lounges. Yes. So we'd be living in lounges, and then like those would be the people that you would mainly work with. But since we moved to completely online, it's just a group of people to help you get to know other people before.
Yeah, and then there are also some online events like Tom Mannion. He hosted like some cooking nights and like recipes, and then like you can order stuff using like free Grubhub gift cards. Like they tried to have like some events still for students.
Yeah, they also sent us care packages and they gave us free hot cocoa.
And then right now Angel, she's just looking for internships, serves, reaching out to professors.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for interviewing today. Do you have any advice for freshmen or applicants, or just any last words?
Don't go to college. Just kidding! I'm kidding. I think I said some advice throughout the video, so I can't really think of any off the top of my head. Check out my videos. I have a YouTube channel.
Check out Angel's channel as well. You can just search how I got into Caltech Angel and then she'll pop up.
Subscribe, like, and comment.
To my channel.
To my channel. To
our
our channel.
We don't have a channel together. Well, thank you for watching. Hopefully this was somewhat useful, has some information, and yeah, if you're a freshman, please take this advice so you don't suffer as much as Angel. Even if it's not going to be virtual, there's still a lot of suffering that goes on. So, okay, let's end on a happier note.
First term was awesome. I loved it. Okay.
Okay, bye.